Yo, what up guys, Funfish here, and today I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be doing an Overwatch League Team Power Rankings video. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with the S plus tier, and in my opinion, San Francisco Shock easily are S plus. I think they're the best team right now. Right after them, I think the Vancouver Titans, and then I think Vancouver is really good. I think people are underrating them because they have Fisher. And then I think Philly's right after them. I think New York is an S tier. I don't think they're S plus. After their performance against Philly, I really don't think they're like not as dominant. I don't think they're a top three team in my opinion. Um, after New York, I think Atlanta Reign. I think um, Edison and Erster will be a really good duo for DPS duo. So that's why I think they're gonna be fifth place. After that, I think in A tier I put Seoul Dynasty sixth place. Now people can get mad at this, but I think Seoul Dynasty has a better roster than Shanghai. Which we're talking about Shanghai, put them at seventh place because in my opinion, I don't really like the tanks on the Shanghai Dragons. I like the tanks more on Seoul Dynasty. I like the DPS more, a little more, a little more because Shanghai DPS kind of overlap the same heroes. So yeah, and I also think Seoul has a bit of better coaching staff, so as well as an organization in general. Um, so next up, we have, my opinion, LA Gladiators. So even though people were worrying about their DPS, the LA Gladiator DPS, I think they performed well. I think Mirror performed a little bit better than Jaru. So I think Gladiators are still like a top 8 team in my opinion. Right after them, I think was come Guangzhou Charge. I think since they got Neptuno, I think they would be a lot better. So and so far, like we haven't seen them play, but their roster looks pretty tight, pretty strong, and pretty consistent in my opinion. Next up, my opinion, I think the Toronto Defiant, after the performance they showed, Sherfor really popped off. I think the performance they showed against Philly, I think that was a really good performance. They nearly reverse sweep them, so they're going in B tier, high B, in my opinion. They're not an A tier team, but they're high B. They're still good. They need to develop more. I think if they develop quite well, they'll be good. Right after that, I think, in my opinion, LA Valiant, and man, they were a very like underhyped team. Like they proved everybody wrong. Like dude, like they're, I think 11th is good right now. I might move them up later, but man, they proved people wrong. Like dude, KSP, KSF, those people are insane, man. Like hats off, dude. Like everyone was putting them like 19th, 20th, but you know they showed up. They showed up. They're 1-1. Maybe they can get another win. Hopefully. Um, Next up, I think Hangzhou Spark. Now, since they got Otto on their team. I don't think Otto is that good in my opinion. I know he was stuck on Brigitte, but I think I don't think he's that good of a player. I know he's good for Genji, but it's not really a Genji meta right now. He might be good in hero pools. And Adora, I'm not really a fan of. Godsby is always decent. I don't really like the DPS on this team. The tanks are alright. They're pretty good, but I think they're around like that area. I think LA Valiant's currently better. Right after them, I think the Paris Eternal, and the Paris Eternal are really like underrated. These guys are really underrated. Like FD God was a great pickup, super aggressive main support, like amazing team. I think Ben Best really proved people wrong. Like people were not excited about Ben Best, but you know he proved everybody wrong on main tank on Reinhardt. He really popped off. For the rest of their team, DPS wise, Eggsy has been playing really well. Nico's May is really good as well. So I think they'll be doing very well this season. At least I think they'll make top 12. With Sparkle coming into the roster, of course. So oh no, they're not. They're right here. Okay. So after Paris, I think um, it'll be the Dallas Fuel, and I'll tell you why. So Decay and Doha are amazing DPS. I feel like if they find their rhythm, I think they can really finish high this season. Um, they have good tanks. No, I'm not really a fan of Note this season. I feel like he's a diva one trick. Their supports are amazing. Like man, like I don't know how they're 0-2. Like dude, Decay popped off. I mean, I really feel bad for this team, but I think they'll improve as the season goes on. Next up will be the Chengdu Hunters. I know people are like hyping up the Chengdu Hunters a lot, but in my opinion, I feel like they'll just be decent. I know they're a full Chinese roster, and since their home stands are canceled due to the coronavirus, I feel like they won't perform as well without like home stands. I think jet lag and everything. Like like if they go to America, I feel like it's gonna be worse for them since they have no home stands. I like their roster. I like how they added leave. I still think they're pretty average team. I don't think they're better than Dallas at all. Now we get into the C tier teams. I think London is high C. They're almost low B, but I'm gonna put them high C because I know like they're a bunch of rookie players. They nearly lost to Washington, and yeah, like I mean, I think they'll just end up at around 16th place in my opinion, around there. And then yeah, next team will be the Florida Mayhem because I really like this roster. Like, I think Florida's good, but I don't think they're good enough right now to beat most teams in the league. I think they can beat easily Washington Justice. I like their roster. I like Fate. Fate and Carrion are pretty good, so I think they'll perform well. They'll definitely do get some good wins this season. Next up, I think the Washington Justice will be right after the Florida Mayhem, just because I think Justice really suffered a bad loss against London Spitfire on Sunday. I think that was a big, like, kind of big L for them because they haven't won a game in their homestands. But hey, they got four more homestands, so I think they should be fine. Um, yeah, I mean, I like the roster. I think Corey is the main carry player for this team. He's really going to be the carry. So if he can carry them, maybe they can get some really good wins, better than last season. Next up, I think the Boston Uprising. Like, I think they really underperformed, but like, what do you really expect from Boston, Who really expects a lot from them? So I think they're fine. They're a bunch of rookies. Swimmer is alright. They're tanks. Axiom, he's alright. Muffin's fine. I mean, they're just average. I think they're a really low team. Next up, I think Houston Outlaws. Due to the factor that they have four players sick, four DPS players sick. Like, I mean, they're in a really unfortunate spot. Next week's their homestand. Maybe they can win. I'll make a prediction video on who I think will win those games. So stay tuned for that. And then, so more about Houston. I mean, like, there isn't really much more to talk about Houston because I feel like they're just a really bottom team. I think they have some really likable talent. I think they're really marketable, kind of like the Toronto Defiant. So yeah, I think they're just a marketable team. I think they're a likable team. They'll do decent. I think they might sneak some really big upsets against some really good teams. So yeah. So this is my overview of my rankings for 2020 so far through third week. So we have San Francisco Shock, Vancouver Titans, Philadelphia Fusion, New York Excelsior, Atlanta Reign, Seoul Dynasty, Shanghai Dragons, LA Gladiators, Guangzhou Charge, Toronto Defiant, LA Valiant, Hangzhou Spark, Paris Eternal, Dallas Fuel, Chengdu Hunters, London Spitfire, Florida Mayhem, Washington Justice, Boston Uprising, and then finally Houston Outlaws. So that is my power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my prediction video that I'm going to be making later on this week before the weekend. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, leave a like.